What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sister Radio Show. I am your favorite sister, Narkelia, and I have with me today my girl Velvet.
Hey, y'all.
And Kickz.
Praise the Lord, everybody.
Why are you that close? And I'm in Chicago.
Turn up. Oh, yeah.
Yes. I'm here for it. And it's hot. We on this little couch together.
First of all, it's not little.
Okay, we're on this standard sized couch together.
You hit the trigger.
Right, I hit a
Sure,
trigger.
no, we did to get this couch in here. Talk about a little couch.
But anyway, so I'm here with these two talking about respectability politics because this one, Kickz here, was talking about, what were we talking about? Like Jay-Z's OJ song and W.E.B. Du Bois one time.
Yeah, double consciousness.
Yeah, with your students or whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I started talking about, I don't know how it led to respectability politics, but it did in the conversation. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on it. How do you think that respectability politics is something that's necessary? Do you think that it's causing us to be respected, or does it even matter? Like, why is it still a thing? Why do we even care what people think about it?
I think, yeah, I'm gonna go first.
Go.
Because I got Kanye West right now in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
And I think so often we try so hard to be different, to go against the grain, that we make fools out of ourselves.
Yes.
It's one thing to be, a unique individual and all of those things, and to fight for your individuality and all of that shit.
Yeah.
But there is a very fine line between being a fucking fool and being a fucking individual.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is where I struggle with respectability politics is that it's a way for certain black folks to look down on other black folks. Like,
oh yeah,
I think about Cardi B, for instance.
She's not black.
She has some black in her.
That's cool.
She's not 100%. And I mean, whatever. Shut up. So
I'm just trying to figure out who we claiming and who we not claiming.
It's not, but it's not for us to say.
Yeah, you're right.
That you're black or not. And
right.
That's one thing too. But, a lot of people like, oh, she promotes this ghetto personality, these traits that we're trying to remove ourselves from. And I look at her and I'm like, shit, she just doing her. Like, do that shit. If that's who you are, be you.
I get that. But I think what a lot of people are really trying to get celebrities to understand is whether you wanted it or not, you are now in the spotlight.
Okay.
You are. And this is the fucked up part about America. We pick one person to speak for an entire group. And so when we see Cardi B, when we see Nicki Minaj or Lil Wayne or all of these people, we expect them to be able to speak for us because that's how white America sees it. Like, you see a person of color in a particular position, and then you assume that all people of color behave this way. That's how stereotypes and biases work, right? But Cardi B is just pretty much just like, and in this regard, I kind of rock with her on it. She's like, I don't want to be that for y'all. I'm sorry.
Right. Raise your own kids.
Right. I'm not going to be that for y'all. And on the flip side, I also think she needs to understand just how exposure works and how impressionable people are. Whether you want to do it or not, you're there.
That's true. But at the same time, it's like, for me, fuck what people say, to be honest, about stereotypes or whatever. I don't care what you get from it. I don't care that you look at Cardi B if you're a non-black person is like, oh, this is how all the black people are. I do not care. You're a non-factor to me about what you think about all of us as a group because of this one person. But I also think that she's a well-rounded individual. Like, even though she mad ratchet over here, like, she had one post where she was talking about how taxes was breaking down and why she can't, like, give everybody money or donate to every charity. And, she's also talking about voting, or she's also talking about something else. So I think she is definitely aware that she has a voice and that she can reach people, but I think she just also don't give a fuck because you got to raise your own kids. Go ahead.
I think the biggest part about just this whole conversation is why do we give a fuck about these people's lives?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
America, and I don't know about any other country because I live up in this motherfucker, but like, why do we play God so much? And
Right,
so,
right.
like, what Bill Cosby has or has not done, what Kanye has or has not said, why is it so heavily affecting us? Because everybody's a human being, and once we acknowledge that a little bit more, we won't give that much fuck. But because these people have been given this light, this leadership, we expect that they're not human beings, that they don't want to whoop ass at a fashion show after a bitch said something to
Hey.
them on whatever. That Bill Cosby was not, you know. I
Wait,
don't know what's
speaking
that.
of Bill,
No,
though,
no.
Bill was a big respectability politics guy.
Yeah.
Like,
But that
don't-
generation was.
but the thing is, you're so big on this, but you mad disrespectful though. Like, you,
Yeah.
But did he do
But,
it?
I
You
mean,
really never know.
You don't know, but like,
I don't know. I think
did anyone respect you more by saying things like "pull up your pants" and don't do this, that, and the third? Because
But the thing about it is, with people, if we recognize that we are all good and some bad, you know what I mean? Like, everybody knows the things that they should do. Everybody knows the things that they should not do. I'm sorry, Bill. Why am I
You're
tapping
good.
on this? Yeah, just freaking me out. So
Velvet is tapping.
Right.
Where the mic
So
is.
if you hear some tapping,
If you hear the taps, it's
Okay.
it's
Velvet.
Velvet.
It's
Yeah.
my ass.
Right, she's getting to it.
Tapping the point then.
Yeah,
Like,
She
right.
want to clap. She want to do the clap.
Like I said,
But what I had
clap
said
it down.
was, so instead of her
Down,
clapping,
down.
she tapping.
But a lot of
Boom.
times with celebrities and shit like this, I honestly feel like it's basically the motherfucking Truman Show. I feel like it is all, like when I was watching the news when they brought Bill to court, I was just like, all these fucking people are actors.
Yeah.
Like, she caught. We ain't smoking.
Nah, it went down the wrong
It
way.
It was
down.
like I swallowed and breathed at the same time. Anyway,
Mine is confused.
but shut your ass up.
Mine is
It's
We're
all
gonna
right,
take
girl.
But like,
I'll be right back.
but like,
You do
you know,
commercials?
Sabrina Claudio, shut your ass up.
I'm listening to you.
You know
Hush.
Sabrina Claudio?
I do. I love her.
I
music.
love her music.
Love her.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere,
She's
Sabrina
racist.
is supposed to be talking about black women and da 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 da. I think Sabrina didn't suck that dick they told her to suck. So now they finna bash her. You know what I mean? Like, where do all of a sudden, like, celebrities just like, like all of a sudden they doing this. All of a sudden they decide that they're gonna show this or expose this shit about you. And I'm just like, okay, they didn't do what they asked them to do. Not on
Yeah.
some like conspiracy type shit, but like,
I
what
mean,
happened?
like with Bill, the conspiracy was that he was getting ready to buy
buying-
NBC,
Yeah.
but that was a long time ago. He was gonna do that in the '90s, and what really bothers me about our culture and the newer generation and this social media generation is that we don't research anything. One
Yeah.
person said he's about to buy NBC. Instead of looking that up to see when that actually went down, everybody just started posting it like he was about to buy it right before the shit went down. Like, no, he was doing that in the 90s. Like, true, there are some conspiracy theories that I do believe in. That just wasn't one of them. Like, that's...
Honestly though, and for me this Bill Cosby's conversation is a sensitive one. And I say it's sensitive because one, we don't know.
We don't.
Right.
We do not.
Don't fucking know.
And
We
if
don't.
he, and I heard some people say, well, he came out and he said he did blah blah blah. So he definitely did come out and say that he bought Quaaludes to give to women,
Uh-huh.
right? But he didn't say the intent behind. I'm not sticking up for the man. I'm just saying this particular situation is one that I want people to be aware of, because if he didn't do it, the sad truth is there are men out there who do.
Yes, there
Who
are.
are not in positions of power to get the exposure that he does.
Exactly.
So we don't know that they are monsters, right? We don't know that
Right.
they're sexual predators.
Right.
But on one side, like, I think it's fucked up that he's been completely, like, destroyed and torn down, and everything that he tried to achieve for the black community has been shitted on. But then on the other side, I'm grateful to the movement because it has turned into a movement.
It has.
It's turned into a situation where we're now asking questions about what is acceptable when it comes to people's bodies. And I don't want to make this a women's body or a woman's body, so
but
anybody's body. Like we're now for real having that conversation. And I think as a country, we are, unfortunately, I don't rock with feminists for real, but I think we are really starting to take that feminist sort of shift where we're looking at what is acceptable and what is unacceptable.
Right.
And the real change is going to come when we can start to hold the politicians to some shit.
Right.
If we can get some shit, not only like on paper and on the record, but if we can actually get these motherfuckers to start enforcing this shit and make it so that, okay, white man with privilege, you can't do this.
Right.
And you can't say this shit. Okay, black man with privilege, you can't do and say these things. And it's not because of the privilege that you have, but because we as a culture, we as a people, we're recognizing that humanity that you were talking about, Velvet. And we're saying that we're all fucking people.
Yeah.
And as a person, nobody should be treated this way.
That's absolutely true. And especially like a lot of times when, like, of course we don't know for sure if Bill Cosby did it, but for people that do, a lot of times people in power, like even like pastors and, the Catholic Church always have it. Those are some of the biggest proponents of this whole respectability politics and do this, that, and the third. Yes, they're pouring up in front of the mic. That's happening.
Y'all heard
I realized that it was right.
Hello. We're doing
like a Lil Wayne drop.
Ratchet just out here. But it's like, for me, the biggest proponents of people trying to tell people, do this to be respected, do this to be a lady, do this to be a real man, do this to be respected by society. Be like some of the worst people. Like,
it's fucking rules because
that's like
people created them, but the people that say don't do this are the people that are actually fighting with this thing. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just too much sometimes. Like, one, why do we give a fuck?
Yeah.
Two, who's speaking to these people on a deeper level as to like, well, what's going on?
Right.
Or like, what are you really dealing with? Why did you feel you had to do that? Let's figure out how to heal you. Not let's figure out how to fucking destroy you.
Yeah.
But the whole notion of respectability politics actually came from Black women. It was Black women looking to distance themselves from the stereotypes. Like,
they didn't have a choice though. You think about the turn of the century with slavery.
Yeah.
When slavery ended, and white people don't necessarily like talking about this because it really does expose how fucked up their mentality was. But when slavery ended, white people were just like up in arms, like, what do you mean my property is a person?
Right.
Right? Like,
Absolutely.
Imagine your cat or your dog saying, I'm a human being, I have rights, you have to respect me. And for hundreds of years, you've been treating your cat or dog like pets, like, you know what I'm saying? Like animals. And so now you have these things, that's how they saw us.
Yeah.
You have these things demanding equality. And so I think initially, respectability politics was one of those things where Black people were really trying to take a stand and say, this is who we are. We are people.
Trying to prove
we
yourself
are
as
educated.
a human.
We are this, we are that. And then you had that generation, they called them the not the swingers, but the B-boys. What are they? The fucking 1920 dudes?
I can't think of it, but I know what you mean.
The Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah, that whole era.
I can see the little hats with the
feathers. Yeah, like the zoot suits and stuff.
Yeah. So you had flappers. Yeah. You had that generation of people, which is like for real, right after slavery, saying, I don't want to own property. I don't want to do these things. I want to be a dancer. I want to be a musician. I want to be an artist. I want to enjoy the pleasures of life.
Yeah.
And then it's like your grandma saying, oh, hell no, you finna put that blunt down and you going to church because this is respectable. And so in one sense, it was like us trying to create a world where we existed not only to white people, but to ourselves, but us also pulling in on white culture and looking at their world and saying, well, this is what they think is respectable. So we have to do this too. Because if Johnny goes to college and owns a house and land and all of that, and you say that this is acceptable, well, look at Nathan over here doing the same thing. What's the difference between Johnny and Nathan?
Right.
and the biggest thing is race.
But
That's
now
true.
that we've done that, though,
Yeah,
now
now we're
the
past
motherfucking Black Panther has
But
came out
no,
and everybody feel united, Black people feel like because I'm telling you, either they are using Black people for every advertisement, every beauty shit,
Mhm.
because it's all about money. But if we don't recognize that, then we'll think like we've arrived, quote unquote. But it's only a thing of like, okay, you guys are popular right now. Okay, good. We checking lists off of what we can indulge and understand about your culture, so we can shoot y'all off, kill y'all, and then live this world based on how you are. And then Black people are also like, okay, now that we are, I'm not saying we totally accept it, but now we got good Black people and bad Black people, and
Right.
I'm
Or like
the better
people like to
Black
say we have
person.
Black people and we have niggas. 'Cause
Right.
people like to say that a
for
lot.
niggas
You
now,
know.
so like Jay-Z, like you still a nigga, boy, with all
Right.
this motherfucking money you got.
Right.
But
'Cause
And
I
that's
remember the
how-
Chris Rock joke. He was like, "Niggas do this," and then
Yeah.
Black folks like it's a whole thing with that. Go ahead,
But
what you're saying.
no, I was gonna say that's initially how the conversation started with my students.
Yeah.
I let them read and watch the video, the story of OJ. And they pretty much said everything that we're saying right now.
Yeah.
They were just like, no matter how far you think you've come, and we can see it in the media. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Just look at the coverage between Bill Cosby and Brett Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Right? Bill Cosby is this monster. He's this predator. He's this thing. He's not a man. He's not someone who accomplished all of these great feats. He's not someone who has, helped to move Black entertainment and Black cinema. He is a monster. And then you have Brett Kavanaugh.
why is he a monster?
That's just what they said.
Okay.
Right.
He's being considered a monster. He's a sexual predator. They have him on
He's
sex
registered.
offenders list.
Before you finish, let me ask this: if you knew for sure that he did, like let's say we knew for sure he did, would you then think he was a monster?
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
And that's why I am really not taking a side.
Right.
Because
who the fuck are we to like?
I'm just saying,
You're a
yeah,
monster?
I'm
I'm
gonna say this:
monster?
if you drug me to have sex with me,
I'm gonna think you're a monster
You're a
when I come
monster.
to.
because you can honestly, I feel like you can ask, and if I say no,
Then
let that
bye.
be that, right? Like, why do you have to go to such lengths to get what you want?
Right.
And I'm not
Any
saying it's
cause.
right, but why do we
Right.
have to call them monsters? Because now they're totally different from us, from the sins that we have committed. You
And
know
that's,
what I mean?
but
Now
see,
the things
that's
that we have
what the media is
get
doing.
called do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
That's
I hate
exactly what
that.
the media is doing. I'm gonna say Bill Clinton. Bill
Too,
Cosby.
shit.
Right.
Oh.
Bill Cosby is a monster. He's a sexual predator. But Brett Kavanaugh is.
Well,
boys will
let's
be
think
boys.
about this like
How do we
deeper with
know?
him.
All of the
Yeah.
witnesses are saying that they weren't there and that she's making it up. And have we ever stopped? Nobody is saying, well, maybe he paid them off.
Is this the dude that's
This
trying
is
to be
the
mayor?
This
No,
is the
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court nominee.
Yeah.
Is this what we've been? Is this the white guy that they've been talking about, and they can been comparing to Bill Cosby? Because I have not been into
Yeah.
it. with him.
I try not to watch the news either, but yeah, it's him.
And one of the reasons why I'm so like on top of this right now is because one, I want my students to be informed.
Right.
This is a guy that could potentially be in this position for the rest of our lives.
Yes, definitely is. So.
And two, we're in a lesson where we're talking about the Black male experience in America. We're reading Native Son, and we're talking about like all of the stereotypes that are perpetuated through the media and Black families. Just how we ourselves are our own enemies.
Right.
And speaking back to respectability politics, I feel like it was something that people thought was a great idea at the time.
Yeah.
But it infringed on our individualities.
And even like when I think about it, I think about how it's affecting my own life, even currently. Like, the need to say, I have my MBA. Like, that shit, in real life, that shit means nothing to me.
Not at all.
I have it, great. My parents think it's so great. But to me, I'm like, I don't give two fucks about it, really.
But you listen.
But I was raised to believe, like,
This means you are something.
You are not
Yeah.
this regular black person. You're now this educated person. You weren't
You're
lazy.
so articulate.
You're right. You know, you read well. You express yourself well. You know, all of that. But I'm like, I love my ratchet self just as much. You know what I'm saying? I like to bust it down just as much as anyone else, and I'm okay with that. And that also being shown. I want to present a well-rounded version of Narkelia to the world. I don't want to just say, oh, she's this educated, you know, always on time, which we were talking about that yesterday. Like, that's a piece of respectability politics that still lives within me. Like, I can't be late to shit. Like, I'm like always on time. Because it's that subconsciously, it's like that.
Yeah.
Black folks always late, so I'm just like, I'm gonna be that on time.
But
black person.
Now that you know that that's learned behavior,
Yeah.
I think period, because every culture has done it but us. We have to recreate
Yeah.
our own realities, recreate the way we think. Now we can know the standard and say, hey, look, this is how things are. This is how the world works.
Yeah.
But this is what we'll do. And yes, you can have a degree, and that means you can get a better job. You can get some more money. That also means you're gonna be in debt. You can get this nice ass car, but when I see nice cars, I be like, ooh, you owe so much motherfucking money.
Right. That's why I refuse to get another car.
Differently.
Yeah.
But people don't say that. You know what I mean? Automatically, you think that this means better. But again, like you said, your intellectual side or your scholarly side, as far as education versus your character, one, you can be all of those things.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can
We're
be
not
all those
one-dimensional people. Like,
in America,
America.
But in this particular,
you black as hell.
Yeah, I know, right? In this land that we live in, we don't.
She speaks so well.
You know, I'm so articulate for a nigga who
colored
lives across the
We're
street
colored, articulate
from the projects that I grew up in. First of all, y'all, whoever's listening out here in podcast land, I just want to give a shout out to no, for real. When I think about me as a person right now and everything that I've learned, I had a babysitter when I was growing up. She was like my grandmother, and we lived on 29th and State, and we stayed in the Dearborn housing projects. And so right now, I currently live across the expressway from the projects that I grew up in, and everything that we're talking about, be on time, be this, you gotta tuck your shirt in. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Please and thank you. I still do that to this day. Yes, ma'am. I could be talking to a 12-year-old. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Like, all of those things came from her.
Yeah.
And my mom, you know, and I understand that was what we needed to do. That was what we had to do.
It's like survival.
Yeah, it was definitely a survival tactic, right? But like you said, Velvet, like, we haven't, as a culture, as a people, we haven't stopped to take the time to say, this is actually hurting us. We had to do these things to survive. We don't have to do these things to survive anymore. But it's like generations of traumatic experiences. It's PTSD to the max, because we're not stopping to take the time to be like, yo, we actually had to say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Right.
Or we were beaten, or we were killed, or we were this, or we were that. We don't have to do that anymore.
No.
And it's not, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to finish this thought before I forget. And it's not necessarily us being polite, right? Like, I can definitely say yes and no, but I also think subconsciously we feel like we have to say these things and we have to do these things because we don't want to come off as the angry black woman.
Right.
We don't want to come off as aggressive or like all of these, or uneducated or whatever. You know, instead of us just being like, no, I'm actually not going to do that. No matter, who you are.
Yeah.
And I can say in my professional life, I've gotten to that place where I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do this if it's not benefiting my students, right? But in other areas of my life, I struggle. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yes, sir. Cool.
Okay. I want to take this discussion to respectability politics in the realm of
relationships.
No, in the realm of queer people of color.
Oh, that's my whole study.
And I want to talk in particular about.
I wish y'all could see this.
she
I
got a
feel that a
whole
little
little charts and stuff. But I really want to talk about in the what was I gonna say? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Young MA actually.
Mm.
So the big thing is that, you know,
Me too.
certain queer people of color like don't like that young MA is a public figure and she's this quote unquote, like you say, people, the world views her as this poster child for,
She's a representation.
right,
Black
for
queer
male
women.
presenting
Yeah.
queer women of color, which I think, once again, similar to
that's
how I
not
feel
fair.
about Cardi B, she's just doing her. Like, if you out here in the world want to take her for representation, that's on you. Like, she shouldn't have to not be herself
But it's not that simple.
because of that. Yes, it is. To me.
Well, yes, it
Let
is.
people do what the fuck they want to
Let them do what they want. Let them
Right.
be them.
Fuck y'all.
No. I hear
Go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I definitely hear you. But
Let's
thinking
do it.
like, okay, on a biological level, our brains are just wired to categorize.
So,
And we handle and we understand based on the buckets that we create in our mind.
But we learn that shit too.
We do learn that, right?
KWL. Let's
Right.
put it all in categories.
Exactly. We learn that. So you learn what a car is. So then when you see something else that looks like that first car you saw, you're like, oh, that's a car. Oh, that's a car. Oh, no, wait, that's a truck. Right? And you do it with people. Oh, that's a girl. That's a boy. I honestly, my niece is 6. Right?
okay.
And I knew when she was born, I knew we were going to have that conversation about gender
Yes.
and expression. Because when she's in the house, when she's with us, cool. But when she goes out into the world, she starts to see what people say boy and what people say is a girl, right? And so then she comes back home and she sees me. She's like, oh, TT, you're a boy.
Right.
But then she started calling everybody else boy. And I'm like, okay, cool. She's not necessarily learning the difference in the traits. Everybody's a boy. She learned a new word. Cool. I'm a girl. Everybody else is a boy. That's how she was for a while. And then she learned boys look like this.
Right.
Boys do this. Boys wear that. So now, at that point, she was able to say, TT, you're a boy. Mommy's a girl. Daddy's a boy. Blah, 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 blah. So then we had to have that conversation about expression and individuality and all of these things. And so now she's just like, TT, you're TT.
Uh-huh.
But it was those experiences of, oh, I am a girl, everybody else is a boy, or this is what a boy looks like. So in our minds, we just naturally categorize things. And it's not necessarily to offend people, but it's to help us understand how to interact with them. If I know you're a boy, if I know you're different, if I know I can label you as other, now I have the authority or the right to treat you the way that I'm going to treat you. If I label you as other, I can now treat you differently. And if everybody attaches to this label, now we treating you like this. You know what I'm saying? And so when we look at young MA, she is for us a person from the block, somebody that you see at the pub, right? Like she's somebody that we've been used to seeing.
Right.
It's like not a big deal to us. But when you put her on this platform, when you put her on this stage, now the whole world is like, oh, so this is what black, queer, mass presenting.
It's forcing people to have a conversation. Like you had to have a conversation with your niece.
But how many people want to have that conversation?
It doesn't matter. That's the thing. That's not her problem. Yeah. That's the whole point.
It was very uncomfortable talking to a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old about those things, right?
But you're going to have to.
It brings up shit that we don't want to address.
I mean, because as simple as a white person having to explain to their child that people are different races, everything ain't white. So,
but who's having these conversations?
But the thing about it is, it's still not her problem. She still doesn't have to not be herself because you don't want to have a conversation with your child. That's your problem.
Which everybody
love Janelle Monáe.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Janelle, Dej.
Yeah.
Who else?
Left Eye. We can go back into the Brat.
Yeah, the Brat definitely.
I never knew Left Eye was queer.
Left Eye, she's probably not queer, but because she was almost like aggressive and assertive and all of these things. Well, that's how the media portrayed her, right? Yeah. But then if you watch that documentary, you're like, this is just a little girl.
Right. She's so
it's like a
timid
dainty, and not even to like label such soft, but like she was really like a very quiet,
like
shy
type.
Yeah.
But in honesty, in this world, they don't want them to get to no documentary type shit, just like Nicki Minaj. she's not enough Nikki. Because remember, at one time she was blacking it out.
Oh yeah.
She was calming it down. She was dressing how she wanted to. And
She's
said,
a clown
bitch,
to me. I'm
no,
sorry.
I need you to do more Nikki. When she was on The Voice, and she was having actual opinions, and she was being nice. I'm sure they took her ass to the back and said, no,
Yeah.
we need you to be more Nikki. You know what I mean? And
It's pawns in the game.
yeah, like, you are who we say you're going to be. And if you're not going to be that way, that's why I feel like the industry
That's
gonna fuck you
why
up.
I love the artists that just let themselves shine through. I love the Young M.A's. I love the Cardi B's.
I'm
because
honestly wondering, though, not to cut you off, but
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much of Young M.A. are we really seeing?
Right, because you
I
like
mean,
Because is that
Right.
really her?
she real because she's relatable. You feel like she's relatable, but is that even her? Like,
I
She
mean,
might not be that,
or she might,
or she might, right?
which is, but
Which
the
is
thing
fine.
is, if what she's presenting is who she is, that is fine. That's the main part, because what I hear in conversations with my friends, I'm about to get this girl right here, y'all. She done blew in this damn bottle. Like,
Velvet don't know how to
she's a
act.
whole ass 12-year-old right now. Blowing in this bottle.
I apologize.
What's my, this girl's.
It just happened. She didn't even realize.
Look at this. I didn't even realize it was really gonna make it. Oh my God. But
Oh my goodness.
like, the conversations that I have with my circle of friends is, one half is like, man, she shouldn't talk about wearing a strap, or she shouldn't talk about doing, any of the things that she probably does in her regular life with the world. Like, she should keep that private. Like, for what? If that's what you do, do it.
She's a trailblazer.
Do it.
She
Talk
is.
about it out loud.
She's definitely a
Do
trailblazer.
it.
But when I said how much of that is her, I'm wondering how much of like herself is she able to present? Like, I'm wondering, is there somebody back there that's like, you got to be more this, you got to be more
I know
that?
it is.
But part of me feels like
They're
it's not, because
publicists.
she talks about being like independent. That's one reason she doesn't want to go to a label, because she doesn't want to be told what
Oh,
to
she's
do.
not on the label.
Right. So
Well,
if you
then it
listen
might
to
be.
her, Breakfast Club interview, and she was saying, labels come talk to her about, we'll sign with us, we'll give you exposure. And she always says, well, I built my own following. I've already done this. And she didn't want to, because she was supposed to be, or they wanted her to be on Empire when they had the female rapper. And she was like, no, I don't want to be a part of that, because I would be known as this personality if I was to do the Empire role.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to be Young M.A. So if you watch her interview on there, I definitely feel like who she is her. Even when, Charlamagne asked her about, like, what you mean, like a lyric in her song about her getting head or whatever. And she was just like, look that up on your own. Like, don't try to dive into my sexual life. You ain't diving into the questions when other people come on here. So she kind of like played him to the left, and I respected that about her, because that's exactly what it is. I understand. I'm not naive to the fact that everybody is not exposed to queer people, but at the same time, you're not about to when you get me on a platform. I know, right? I know, my mind.
Fuck it.
I don't know. It's the respectability politics. That's what it is.
Right.
In my subconscious.
Because ain't no
I told you it's always there. But
You want to grab that bottle?
hey, we drinking.
I'm not sitting right here ever again. What you want me to grab?
But I don't know. Y'all breaking up my train of thought. Oh my gosh. See, that's why we can't drink.
But you know what? Even Charlamagne, what's his name?
Charlamagne.
But
like,
I saw him do an interview with
Charlamagne.
He got a computer right here, and he's literally digging.
He's on Twitter on it.
This is his
He's
personality.
Yeah, he's messy.
But I've also heard
But
a lot
don't
of people
do that.
talk about older, like before he got to where he is right now.
Yeah.
He wasn't like that.
Right. And that's what I've heard about him too.
He wasn't like that.
So there's someone pulling his string.
There's always
yeah.
See, like, and here's the crazy part. Even if there's not a physical person, there is a something that's motivating you to do whatever it is that you do. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person saying do this, wear that. You could be your own self.
Yeah.
You could be the one in the back in your head saying, I need to wear this shirt because this shirt is gonna make me look like this, and then this is how I want to be received. I know they're gonna blah 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 blah. So I don't want people to think like it's man, because it is a man. But sometimes we internalize the man, and we fuck ourselves up.
We do, but the whole thing, a lot of it, and I go back to Young and May because
I didn't really want to talk about her, but I knew you were gonna bring her.
Of course, because she's a big topic of conversation, even within circles of, for me, queer women of color.
We don't talk about her.
We don't. Me and you don't.
No, I mean, my queer circle friends up here, we don't. I guess it's a big thing elsewhere.
It must be. I mean, not that it's like she's always a topic, but if, like, let's say the Shade Room posts her or something, like, now in our circle of friends, different circles, we're having these conversations about, well, should she even have posted this anyway for it to get posted by the Shade Room? Like, so what? And the only reason why the Shade Room or any other media is pressed is because they fear, or not even fear, but they have this fetish for things that they don't know about.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's like, and I feel like, not to say hate, but I feel like a lot of my responses, low key, are bringing it back bigger picture. Like, that is society in general. If we think about how we process, like, new shit, it's a bunch of, like, the news, the radio, all of that shit is front loaded with images and words about what this new thing is.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
And then we move on to the next new thing, and then the next new thing. I just feel like we have been turned into a society, a larger culture of shiny fucking object of it. Like, we always need something new. We always need something, like, exciting to feel something about, right? Like, we can't get those positive, happy feelings from ourselves, so we gotta get it from this shiny ass new car, not knowing that this new car is gonna put us in a shit ton of debt. Or this shiny ass new degree, not knowing that you're not gonna be able to get that 6-figure job that you was gonna get with that master's
until like 20 years later,
or you get that 6-figure job, but they take 5 of them figures out.
Or you get that 6-figure job and you literally hate it, but you feel obligated to work it and to be stressed out and to overexert yourself because, I was always raised that I should be doing this, or I was taught to be doing that. And it's just bullshit, though. And I think that people be realizing that it's bullshit, but at that point, they're so deep in it. They're so afraid to just take that leap to say, fuck it.
Yeah.
But
what does that mean,
Velvet, first of y'all, Velvet is on the floor, guys. Velvet is not even on the couch anymore with us.
She walks to the beat of her own drum. Right?
She does, and I love it.
You want to talk about? I'm gonna spotlight Velvet real quick.
Yes.
So I met Velvet, 2 years ago?
I met her yesterday.
I met you 2 years ago.
Birthday.
Yes, it's my birthday, guys.
It's not her birthday. But listen, it's only your birthday when we can get free shit. We ain't get nothing free last night.
It don't matter. So it's my birthday.
Tonight is her birthday, though.
All right, cool. So I met Velvet 2 years ago at a Party Noir party at the Promontory. And
okay, shout them out.
Shout out to Party Noir, DJ Ray Charday, Nick and them. And as soon as I walk in, I go to the bar, and Velvet walks up, and she's spanning. Right now, it's cold. I have on a hoodie. I'm cold. It's low key it's like maybe May, but it's a cold May.
It was not.
It probably was.
It was cold in there.
It was not cold,
and you were probably hot because you was probably a little intoxicated. So she come up to the bar, and I'm standing there waiting for the bartender to come around. She's like, "Woo, is it hot in here? Or is it just me?"
I swear to God. I was not trying to hit on you. I swear to God, I was hot as fuck.
I didn't think she was trying to hit on me. I just laughed so fucking hard at this line. I'm like, she is funny. Let me buy her a drink. So I buy her a drink, and she goes her way, I go mine, and then we meet back up at the bar again. Long story short, Velvet turned out to be one of my best friends, right? And she used to teach.
Oh.
And we have this friendship where we can go like a few months without talking to each other. right? And then hit each other back up, and it's like love all over again, right?
Yeah.
So we went like a few weeks without talking. And I'm like, oh, how's school going? She's like, bitch, I quit.
Bye.
So in the middle of the school year, she quits her job. She jumps out into the land of entrepreneurship, and she's been out there ever since. And it was so inspiring because when you teach in Chicago, they suck your soul out of you, and they start from the crown of your head. So by the time you're done, there is nothing left in your toes. No, for real.
So
they suck the life out of you. And then they get mad at you when you come to them and you like, I need a mental health day, bitch.
Right.
I don't have the flu. Ain't nobody in my family died. But bitch, I can't get out of bed.
Right.
And so they be so upset when you're like, fuck this shit. So she quit. And it ain't been easy. Right?
No.
It ain't been easy.
Tell us about it.
But do you love it?
Right. We want to know. This is all about women empowerment, this show.
Oh,
so
awesome.
we can go off subject and everything. Tell us about
inspired,
it.
Y'all.
I'm
awesome.
inspired. I think you kind of always know what you need to do. It's just about going against the what's the word I want to use? The grain. Yeah.
Yes.
And the grain is like everything that you've been told that you should do because this will equal this.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
This, okay. Look, I broke it though. It's so terrible.
Y'all ain't about to be like in
No,
this.
I just wanted to get my little Wayne on.
Get out of here.
I'm easily distracted. Keep going.
Keep going.
And so I've always been a creative. I've always had a leadership, entrepreneurial mindset. Like even when I was younger, I got shit that I wrote down in my journal about like, I want my own jazz club and I want to teach. And I've always been a boss. Yeah. And the thing about it is that you are everything that you want to be, you already are. You just have to like, sound face. You just have to accept her a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so I quit my job before and then I got back into something. But this time I had a way of escape in a sense. And I feel like the universe, God, Allah, whatever you call your spiritual guide, will give you a way of escape when you need to get the fuck away from something. And so I got the fuck away from this job. And as soon as I did that, everything else, not saying that it rapidly came into place, but there were some things where I'm like, okay, cool. I got sponsorship to go to the Small Business Summit, and I met all these awesome women who were going to give me business, advice for free, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Anyway, but I still have been discovering a lot about myself within it, but you have such a peace of mind that you are now creating your own world. You can get up when you like. What's a bedtime? What is not saying, well, there is a real budget because there were a lot of days where I didn't have nothing to eat. I couldn't buy Arizona tea. But when I think about what it's going to bring and the opportunities that I provide for other people, even when I can't eat, that they are able to eat, that they are able to show their art, it makes me feel rich as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And so I just picked up something. I'm not going to lie and say that I am not working at this point, but I did pick up something. But my perspective of it is I'm going to do this for a little while. And every time I get a check now, I spend it on my business.
Yeah.
And so invest in yourself a little bit more, and quitting my job and this entrepreneurship and being really, really low and just having this time on my own, it made me even consider this alternate reality. You know what I mean? That I can live differently.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I am fucking powerful. And you know what? I created these things. These things are in my hand. I can say, no, I'm not coming to work. You know what I mean? I can say, I have power within me in which you need me. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, it's cool.
Velvet's
It
dope as hell,
sounds
y'all.
like she's smiling and shit. I'm gonna go quit.
She
I ain't coming to work tomorrow. Okay.
Right. Velvet threw my birthday party a few months ago. And it was so crazy how it all happened. We were sitting in my living room, kind of right over here in this corner. And I was like, look,
That you guys can't see.
you can't see the corner,
Okay.
but it's a nice ass corner. And I was like, yo, like, look, I've never had a birthday party. I want a birthday. Like, I want to have a birthday party. And she was like, well, what's your thing? I was like, well, you know, I love black people. And this was right before Black Panther came out.
Hey.
And so we had a Panther party. But it was not like the movie Black Panther.
Right.
It was like a Black Panther, like power
Yes,
to the
the
people,
organization.
like Black Power movement party. And it was the dopest thing I think I've ever seen in my 28 years. And the best birthday I've ever had was because of Velvet. She took my bullshit. So if you need an event plan,
Hey, y'all better shout out.
a something plan, hit up Velvet. She was the sweetest person you would ever
What's
work
Velvet
with.
IG?
AGSP Chicago. AGSP Chicago. AGSP Chicago. Ooh,
Okay.
AGSP Chicago on Instagram and Facebook.
AGSP Chicago.
Yeah, it stands for Gun Show Productions.
Yes.
But AGSP Chicago.
But you know, even
and they're very professional, y'all.
Even in what
I was
you
a birthday
did
diva.
makes me think about like when growing up, you know, I love my parents. I'm grateful for everything they've done for me and my siblings or whatever. But
right.
we have to start teaching our children not just about working for somebody else,
but
until you retire. Like we have to start teaching them about entrepreneurship and start feeding into their passions. Like I have a niece that can dance her ass off naturally, and I'm just like,
that's my older sister.
Want to pour into that. Like, girl, do that. Don't get stuck into, you know, just go. Then there's nothing wrong with school. That's your thing, great. But that's just not the only path to success. It's not.
And that's living the alternate reality.
Yeah.
And that's going against the respectability piece
right.
Of America, especially Black America.
Yes.
Let me tell you what America has done.
Capitalism.
We have been studying you fuckers for years.
Bitches.
And now we have created a theory to teach you what you already know.
Yeah.
So you're going to come and audition for our colleges and our schools, and we're going to tell you this is this. We put a name on it, so this is a motherfucking plie. This is this genre. This is this whatever. And you in here talking about, I want to do this type of dance. They're like, no. Yeah. We'd like for you to do the other shit that we made up that we learned from you.
And that's the beauty of gifts and callings, low key. I don't know, like, and you don't necessarily have to believe in like the Bible and God and all of that, but I strongly believe that everything that we need to succeed in this world and in this life, we are already born with.
Absolutely.
Right? I tell my students all the time, you are a sociologist. You can look at some shit and you can say, at a large scale, this is fucked up.
Yep.
You may not have all the isms and schisms to go along with it, right?
And all the verbiage and all of that.
And white people may not necessarily agree with how you explain shit, but you have the ability to look at your community and say, this is fucked up, right? But because capitalism fucks everything up because we need to make money now. Now we need some form of income because now I got to provide for shit. Well, so I'm going to go to school. Money. Yeah, everything is about money. I'm going to go to school to get a degree in something that I already know.
Right. I mean, and I literally have not worked in my field like this whole time. I work in insurance, and I have a marketing degree, and now a master's in marketing because I don't know.
I'm a teacher, but I mean, I guess I kind of use my degrees. I have a bachelor's in psych and social. And then I just got my master's in education. And I just feel like any teacher needs, you probably don't want to keep using that napkin.
She gonna burn the house down over here.
I see it like burning. I'm like,
Velvet trying to smoke some weed.
Yes.
And she like,
it's a party over here, guys.
I don't even have, it's like nothing.
This is what happens when sister travels to other places. It's a party.
Can we talk about weed?
We can talk about everything on here.
Okay, cool.
Even that.
Yes.
It's about money.
Right. It has.
There are people in jail.
People in jail right now.
And they have documentaries about it.
Velvet better be across the room.
But can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So even the fact that like we are going to now legalize what you all are doing because we have peep game and all this motherfucking money y'all making in these hoods.
Yep.
And we want a part of it. And we've been buying from y'all. And now we figured out your theory again. It's go back to dance and music and insurance and
Yep.
all of that shit.
Yep.
We made the rules, and now we're gonna present it back to you again.
Do you know
Right.
how long it
And
took?
we're still gonna not let you out the jail though.
Yeah, no,
you
no, no.
still
You still
gonna
gonna
be
stay
in
there.
there. You're gonna be in the jail.
Do you know how long it took them to call W.E.B. Du Bois a sociologist?
Is it Dubois?
I don't know. Du Bois.
I just feel like Dubois.
Even to the sense of, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm gonna say ain't instead of isn't. Fuck
Right.
me.
And
bogus. And
Yeah.
bogus. When I was growing up, I used to watch the news every morning with my mom. She would just be getting in from work, and I'd be waking up, and I'd just be laying in the bed. And we couldn't say bogus growing up. You watch the news now, and let there be a story about some fake purses or some fake something hitting the market, and it's bogus.
Yep.
You mean it as if it was
No, and they say they
like
literally say bogus on the news channels. But growing up, we couldn't say bogus because it was slang, right?
Okay,
it was slang.
Yeah.
You couldn't say bogus.
Yeah.
You couldn't say ain't. You couldn't say finna. You couldn't say any of those
that.
things.
I mean,
Right
even
now.
how my girl Angela Rye be reading them to death on CNN. What is it?
Yeah.
You couldn't do that back
You
then.
could not. No.
Until I
She be-
said so.
She be giving them the business.
It's
though.
all
I love
about.
it.
It's all about when they say it's acceptable.
Yeah,
and
that's
unfortunately, and this is my thinking when it comes to racism.
And that's when they take
Because
over our culture.
a lot of black people want to argue me down when I say people of color cannot be racist. We can be prejudiced.
Mhm.
We can be discriminatory. We can be all of these things. But we don't have the systemic power to
We do not.
disenfranchise anybody. Yes, we have powerful people of color, but as a collective, as a unit, we cannot cause any systemic
We cannot oppress.
shifts or movements within this system that they've created. Yeah, you got your Angela Ryes and your Michelles and your Baracks. You have all of these people of color that are making headway or whatever the fuck that word is
Mm-hmm.
in places that we've never been before. But as a unit, as a people, we will never be in a position to fully, truly do to them what they've been doing to us for years.
And that's
when
why
I say us,
hate.
when I say us, I mean not just black people here in America, but I mean people of color across the world for centuries. Velvet got the munchies now, y'all.
Velvet is doing everything, but I
wish this had
completely
a video.
agree. You know what? I said I was going to start back. I used to film it. So I said I was
you
going to
need
start
to.
back, but I
So
want
you
to
can
invest
see
in a
Velvet.
$700 camera.
Munching on this fucking 2-day-old.
Hey, if y'all want to donate to my camera fund,
How to go fund me.
I'm about to start a GoFundMe because I do want to film it. This would have been really dope to film, especially looking at Velvet, who's been everywhere except this couch. It's been great, but we are like out of time. This has been a bum ass conversation.
All right, follow me on Instagram.
Yes, everybody tell their Instagrams. Kickz, I'm starting with you.
Okay, so I have my personal Instagram, my personal IG. It's Kickz _ the SG row, KICKZ _ the SG row, and then my business page is Education LLC. So EDYOU Cation CATION LLC.
Yes, Velvet. Tell the people one more time how. Okay, she's eating a cookie,
Okay.
guys.
My personal Instagram is glowing gat. Glowing. The word glowing, like glowing. And then gat, like bitch, GAT. Glowing gat. And then my business page is AGSP Chicago. Ooh, AGSP Chicago. Glowing gat. AGSP Chicago.
Hey,
Ooh,
hey,
AGSP Chicago.
hey,
Glowing
yeah,
gat. Glowing gat. Glowing
She
gat.
gonna sing this out. Velvet gonna sing this out.
No, I'm not. But you can find music on my Instagram.
Kickz is in charge. If you guys didn't know today, I've relinquished my show over.
Y'all. You should have let me count us in then.
No.
All right, level up in 5. No, I'm just playing.
And of course, you guys already know Sisters. Instagram is at sister.radio. And I am at your favorite sister. Of course, both with AH at the end of that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, and especially to these crazy girls right here.
Shout out to my
But that was a good ass conversation that I've really enjoyed. So tune in every Tuesday, of course, at 8:30 p.m. No, you didn't. First of all, I know she did not come on my show. Oh, y'all know what?
One more time, Kickz _ the SG row.
I'm about to kick her out. She can't come back
How you gonna
again.
kick me out of my
No,
house?
this is Greek unity over here. You know,
Somebody kick me
she's
out.
my second favorite poodle, so it's cool.
I'm not a poodle. I'm an SG.
She's my second favorite SG Row, so whatever.
Stand up for what you believe in. You know? Assert yourself.
Anyway, tune in, guys, every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Bye.